let's talk about level up because you've been moving up in card values
Yes,
with a strategy.
absolutely.
Can you speak
Yeah,
on that?
yeah, definitely. So, I don't know what it is. It's like probably like my first 6 months back, I bought all crap. I bought nothing but crap. I mean, like I was listening to podcasts and I would hear someone talk about Prism cracked ice. And literally, as I'm listening to the podcast, I'm going on eBay, typing in cracked ice, auctions that end soonest, and then literally bidding on every single one of them. I probably spent over $400 on common cards, common players, cracked ice. Like, so I went through these kind of weird growing pains of like thinking I wanted something, fear of missing out, FOMO, like all that stuff. And then slowly, what I started doing was buying cards that meant a lot to me, but also might hold their value. So I would buy a card for like $200 that I figured might hold their value. So basically, every week I was probably spending about 2 to 300 on cards. So a month I was kind of putting a grand in, a grand
Mhm.
in, a grand in kind of thing. And slowly just started leveling up, slowly started making bigger and bigger moves. And yeah, just, I ended up with, I'll tell the story quick for anyone that hasn't heard. I ended up with probably about 4 or 5 cards that were around 10 grand each, right? And I started setting up at shows, which has been a huge, huge, oh my God. Let me tell you, the two biggest things that I've done to level up, in my opinion, is have the podcast and set up at shows. So, anyways, so I end up with, pretty decent collection, maybe worth around like 50 grand, and I have like 4 cards that are valued around 10 grand each. I had these guys walk up to my table about 3 months ago and they're like, "Listen, we like your cards. You have some nice stuff here. For your top 4 cards, we'll pay you 75% right now and we'll give you cash." And I was like, "Whew." It kind of blew my mind there. I'm like,
Mhm.
so they ended up giving me 28 grand cash. 28 grand cash. I'm like,
And
"Oh
this
my
happens
god."
at shows. I tell people I've seen it. I've been standing there. This happens at shows.
Unbelievable. And I did an episode on my podcast, Sports Card Therapist, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, and I called it "Participation is Required." And really, I broke it down. In my opinion, I broke down the hobby in about like five kind of pieces of the pie. One was, being engaged and active on social media. One was like local card shows. One was I can't even think off the top of my head, but it was like 5 really nice pies, and one of them was going to shows. One of them was like the importance of going to shows, and you can succeed in this hobby by not going to shows. You can succeed in this hobby by maybe not being on social media, but you probably need at least 4 out of 5 of those segments, of the pie. So anyway, so these guys come up, they offer me 75% comps, so on my 4 cards, and I'm like, "Oh my god. Okay, like, screw it, I'll take it." So, I ended up making 28K, plus I made, like, another 7K in sales, so I had, like, 35K. I'm like, "Holy crap, what am I gonna do with this?" And I'm like, "You know what? I think I'm gonna spend it on just 2 cards." So, I ended up buying a Jason Tatum Flawless RPA Gold.
Okay.
And I bought a John Morant RPA National Treasures bronze out of 49. They're both the vertical or horizontal versions. The vertical ones are the ones that are more valuable. So I bought the horizontal ones because that's what I could afford. So, and then I actually just flipped both of them. So the Tatum I bought about 6 weeks ago. I bought it for 7K and I flipped it for 13K cash. So I almost completely doubled my money in like 6 weeks.
These are real
Then
stories, people. Real stories.
crazy. Then the job,
In a what someone will call a down market. Let's
yeah,
keep on.
definitely. So then the job, and let me tell you how long it took me about a year and a half to make it up into those 4 cards that I sold. So it's not
Mhm.
like I just have it like that and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, Rob just had it like that, like he's got money," like No, like it took me a year and a half to acquire those 4 cards of working
But,
and grinding every day.
but here on What's the Play, I talk about a lot the patience involved with making certain moves and the patience that you need with your strategy. So I'm glad that you talked about timeline
Yeah.
because I think more and more people that I come in contact with at shows or I talk to about the hobby, I end up talking to them about patience because the market has to make some moves, right? You bought a card at X amount. The market has to allow that card to appreciate in value for you to pull more out to be able to make moves for yourself. So
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, so and it was just kind of like right timing. It was like I bought both of these cards at the end of February. So I think the NBA, like usually a little bit after the All-Star break, the NBA kind of goes through like a little lull, like this little down period where like no one's people aren't really talking about it. Like it's kind of like, you know, Super Bowl's over, March
yeah,
Madness is coming up. It's kind of like basketball for a brief moment gets put on the back burner as people are gearing up for playoffs. So I got the Jason, and let me tell you something. I spent hours, days hunting down these 2 cards, not
mhm,
because that I knew that's what I wanted, but I was searching for the absolute best bang for my buck that I could
yes,
get. So
yes.
so basically 18 months of daily grinding on cards got me this lump sum of like 28K cash. That's basically what happened. So I buy this John Morant for 7K. Or no, I buy the Jason Tatum for 7K and then I bought the John Morant for 17.5. I wasn't sure if I was nuts. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with those cards, but I knew that people that knew their stuff were like, "Rob, that's a good play. Like that's good." So I was
Oh yeah,
like, I
yeah.
I felt good about it. So within 6 weeks, I sold the Tatum that I bought for 7, sold it for 13. Almost 100% profit, almost double my money. Then this last Saturday, which was just 2 days ago,
Hmm.
2 days ago, I had someone come up to my table. That John Morant that I paid 17.5 for, you know how much I sold it for?
I'm gonna say 34.
You are good.
Mm,
34.5.
mm.
FD, man, you are the man for
I
even
keep it,
guessing
baby.
that.
I
That is
keep it.
I cannot believe that you guessed that within $500. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I got 34.5 for it. So I
It's excellent.
literally doubled my money on both of those investments. So I'm like, you know what? It's not because I'm the smartest man in the world that I doubled that. It's a little combination of everything. I think the fact that I'm really learning the hobby, I'm really learning the market, I'm really learning the cycles. The cycles are important. So you know what I did with both of those money, with both of those cards money. So basically, I had about 44K in cards and cash to play with. Okay. So you know what I started doing? Hold on. I'm grabbing a handful right now for you.
Go ahead. I want to see this.
And listen, you're hearing it and seeing it here first on Rolling with FD because I haven't even talked about these cards that I've been buying to the extent that I have. I was waiting probably a couple weeks, so probably in the next couple weeks that's when I want to start kind of talking about the plays I made. But so
Yeah, I've
at
been
the
watching this
show,
card.
At the show, I bought this National Treasure rookie auto jersey relic Mahomes. This is about 10K. Bought that. I'm hoping that I can probably flip that. I'm hoping I can flip that for maybe 15 to 20 at National. We'll see though.
Mhm.
Bought this encased rookie auto that I showed you guys before.
Yeah, with
Let's
that
see.
slab mag, got the slab mag on it.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Then hold on. Then started buying up because here's the thing. I'm going all in on football this last month because I know the way that cycles work in football probably as of right now probably only have about 2 to 3 weeks left before prices start skyrocketing. The NFL
Yeah.
draft is coming up.
Yeah.
NBA playoffs teams are starting to get eliminated. People, even though basketball's still going to be hot until after the finals, I think when people's teams start getting eliminated, they start looking to like football. So got the Josh Allen Immaculate RPA,
Nice. Multiple colored patches there.
another Josh Allen Immaculate RPA,
Mm-hmm.
National Treasure Josh Allen rookie auto colossal. So I'm just trying to load up PSA 10 just and as much football as I can. You know, Trevor Lawrence, as much football as I can, and I'm going all in. Like, I really want to leave National with zero football, and I'm
Okay.
hoping I can turn that into about 100K. That's my
Okay.
goal, is to turn that into about 100K. And if I can do that, I want to put that 100K into maybe one card, maybe two cards, then boom, start fresh again.